Well, we're going to get started. We have a lot of people still joining in, but we'll get started right now and get underway. You guys are in early, so figured I'd give people a couple more minutes, but we'll catch them up as we get going. So, welcome everyone to the FHTribune Kitchen Table web series, episode number 2. I'm the host and founder of the FHTribune, Nick Higgins. I'm also a firefighter, obviously. Today's episode is going to be a very good episode today. Very good. We have Assistant Chief Tom Marchiano coming in from New York. He's going to talk with us on his topic, 6 tips to guide the new fire officer. So, Chief Marchiano, what's going on, man?
I'm just admiring your hat.
You like it, right? By the way, if anybody knows, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I'm a diehard Niner fan. So the conversations over the past week haven't been too pretty. But we'll see how it happens come this Sunday. So,
we'll see.
Chief, if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you, and we'll get this started. Just to let you guys know, we're going to have a quick Q&A after this, a round table, kitchen table style, but feel free to put anything you want in that chat box. I'll monitor it the entire time the Chief's up presenting, and let's have fun. So, it's all you, man.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right. First off, as you said, my name is Tom Marchiano. I want to thank everyone first and foremost for logging in. Appreciate you taking time out of your night. I promise I won't take too much of it, and we'll get you back to your families if that's where you want to be. A little bit about me before I open this up. Let me see if I can. Can everyone see this PowerPoint? Nick, is it up?
No, not yet. Let me see if I can.
I don't know if it's not.
Try now. I think it was my settings.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah. What's going on there? I'll take over the screen share. What screen do you guys see?
I just see one with my name on it now.
Okay. There we go. Can you guys see it now?
Got it now.
Cool. All right. All right. So as Nick said, my name is Tom Marchiano. I joined the fire service in 2004. I've remained with the same department since then. I've held ranks from lieutenant to captain to my current spot as assistant chief. 2009, I got hired by Orange County 911. I served there as a fire dispatcher, police dispatcher, and EMS dispatcher. Do a little bit of everything up there. within the last year, I've joined the county technical rescue team. It's been kind of nice. It's kind of like going back down to the bottom a little bit here and taking some new classes and learning new ropes with that. So it's been a nice change of pace from the normal fire service, I guess you can say. Nick, I'd like to thank you and the Firehouse Tribune for giving me this opportunity tonight. I joined you guys sometime in 2020, wrote a couple articles, one of them being something similar to this. So I just want to thank you, and it's been a great experience. Can't wait to see what you guys have for the future. So what I'm presenting tonight is 6 tips to guide a new fire officer. It's actually funny. My friend Billy and I have sat down and had some discussions a few different times that there's not a lot of leadership type classes for the fire service that are just based on tips to help people out. A lot of classes on legal stuff and scene size up and whatnot, but not much to kind of help you make some decisions and guide you with the human relations almost. So that's what I'm going to present here tonight. It's just 6 tips to guide a new fire officer. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. I still have a whole bunch of training left for myself that I have to complete. I've always had good officers working alongside me or in front of me, depending on the situation. Not everyone is, has that luxury. I've seen people who were 22 years old as a fire captain in the fire service, and they're running it to the best of their ability, but they never had anyone to show them the way. So I'm hoping this class can guide some people who are either brand new to the fire officer world or looking to get into it. And maybe it'll inspire them and help them with, with other stuff. So there's about me, but we'll get right into it. Like I said, I don't really want to waste anyone's time here tonight. I hope you guys enjoy it. But step 1 is studying up. You never want to stop training for a job that can kill you. And if you want to be an officer, some of the things that you should start with is obviously officer training. You have ICS courses, which it enables you to operate efficiently during an incident. 200, 800 are perfect for a lieutenant and captain level. Most places require an ICS 100 and 700 when you're doing your firefighter 1 courses. So that's a little below us, but 8 and 2 are a perfect place to start for an officer. Obviously, fire officer 1 and officer 2, those are going to show you, they'll handle some size ups, how to handle different situations, some legal issues will come up. Talks about really being the guy in the front seat. Those are great courses to have also. And then a lot of times counties or other programs offer different types of command courses. Always want to take control of that or take advantage of that. It's a crazy world being in the front seat. You really got to know that the guys in the back depend on you up front. So you want to make sure you're ready for those situations. Once you become an officer, you can also take some technical training. Rope rescue, water rescue, trench collapse and rescue, and hazmat. Those are other things that can help you with any job that you're going to be going to. If whether or not, you're not the guy in the back anymore. So even if you're just taking awareness levels of those classes, you want to have some type of idea of what's going on when you're on the fire scene before you can call in mutual aid for whether you have a tech rescue team in your county or if you have another department that has different tech rescue abilities like that can come assist you, but they might take a little bit to get there. So you're going to have to at least have an awareness level of the situation before you can move on with stuff. Cross training. I found out that if you know some other jobs at a fire service and emergency services, it can help you do your job better. Safety officer is an obvious one, helps you out with some safety on the fire scene. Communications, that should be pretty simple. Go sit with your dispatch center, see if they'll give you a tour, see how things work up there. A lot of times, being someone that works in both, a lot of times a fire chief will ask a stupid question at dispatch that we think is stupid as a dispatcher, but the fire chief might not have any idea of what's actually happening or what goes on up there. So if you can get enlightened in both sides of it, it might help you along your way. And fire investigation is another one. I know New York State offers a class called Fire Investigation for the line officer. It's not really giving you your fire investigator certs, but it is giving you a little bit of an awareness level to what they're looking for and what they expect. They never want you to destroy property and whatnot before they get there, obviously. But with a little bit of awareness to what they want, it can help you guys out and make you a better fire officer along the way. Remember, the basics is huge. You can't be an officer of the fire service if you can't even be a firefighter. So just because you've reached the ranks does not mean your basic stuff should stop. Your engine company operations, your truck operations, victim removal and extrication, just to name a few. Just, you get professional athletes that are professionals and they continue to practice their basics. Basketball players are always doing free throw shots. They're good at them, but they keep practicing it. There's no reason why the fire service should be any different than that. So again, you can't be a good officer if you can't be a good firefighter. Again, just don't let your new position get in the way of training. There's nothing worse than an officer that reaches his peak and just stops training because I'm an officer, I know everything. You never know anything. If you know everything, it's time to pack up and move on to something else. Another thing to help you with being a good officer is create a goal list. Everyone gets into an office and they want to change the world right away. And I understand it. I was the same way. I've made my mistakes when I was a captain, lieutenant, and doing too much and not enough time to do it. So create a list. You want to prioritize them. What's most important to you? What do you want to do first? After you decide which one you want to do first, make a plan for it. Work on that plan. All right, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that I present it to the board of commissioners or your village board, whoever needs to help you with that goal. Work on it. Stick to the plan. Don't fall off base. Once you achieve the goal, that's problem number one is done. You've already changed something in your department. Number 6 is just repeat it for the next goal. And remember, if you failed, it's not because you did it wrong. Just try to find another way to do it. Go back to step number 2, make a new plan. See how you can make that to work. Things to include on the goal list: SOGs, new equipment. If you want to try to get more money for specialty training or new radios, even just simple chores around the firehouse. All that different stuff is stuff that people always want to change. And sometimes they say, oh, we're going to do this, and 3 years goes by and nothing's ever done. So set those goals. When you're setting them, make them realistic. Don't create something that you physically don't have any power to change. That's not going to be good. It's not going to work in your favor. It's going to make you look like a failure, and allow time to complete it. Rome wasn't built in a day. If you're going to make your goals, just give it some time. Nothing happens overnight. If you do it too quick and you take on too much at once, you're going to fail at it first off, or you're going to do it half-assed. Nothing's good half-assed. I've done my share of half-assed stuff, and not going to work. So this one's kind of a big one here. Utilize others. So in the fire service, you have brothers from different firehouses, even your own firehouse, and you can utilize their knowledge and other officers, either within your firehouse or outside your firehouse. Chances are they share similar or new ideas. They may have dealt with some of the same situations. I'm sure we've all had different legal issues within our firehouses that we can't really talk about, but chances are there have been other officers that have had those issues. So reach out to them, say, hey, this is what we got going on. Can't really talk much about it, but have you ever had something like this? Chances are they're going to say it, and if they have, and if they haven't, they might even have an idea of how to help you work out with it. It also helps build relationships. A couple guys on here from other firehouses that I see their names are logged in here, known them for almost 15, 16 years, and we're constantly bouncing ideas off each other. That's what it's all about. building relationships is the best thing, and it kind of gets you away from your own firehouse a little bit too. Makes me feel better about mine that I'm not the only disaster going on. But you also have the senior man. He's often the most experienced, and just utilize their experience. He can help with command decisions, and if you gain his respect, you gain the respect from your crew. I notice a lot of things with the senior man in our firehouse is that the young guys kind of flock to them. A lot of them are city firemen, which is cool. It's awesome. But if you can gain their respect and they're talking you up as an officer saying this guy knows his stuff, then your new kids and younger guys that are coming in, even the rest of your crew that have been here for a few years, they're going to gain your respect too, or you're going to gain their respect also. So it's all about gaining the respect from your crew, lead on him for other stuff. If you're shorthanded on a fire scene and there's only 1 or 2 officers, use a senior man. He's been here for how many years? He can absolutely help you out with command decisions. I remember when I was a lieutenant, we were going to, I don't remember what kind of call it was, but our senior man was driving the rig. It was one of the first times I was ever in command of an incident. And we're not even on scene yet, and we're driving down there. And one of the additional units responding called us on the radio, asked me for an order, and I wasn't really quite sure what to even say. So they asked if they wanted me to do something, and I kind of just looked at him to the left of me as he was driving, and he kind of just shook his head no. And so even small stuff like that, like he's not going to tell you exactly what to do, but he was always one that you could always look at while he was driving, and he would just give you a head shake, yes or no, and you know, it kind of geared you into the right direction. So always be thankful for the senior guys in your company, and definitely utilize their experience. Step number 4 is about professionalism. So this is a big one for me. You gotta know when to be a friend and when to be a boss. When I was a little younger, I definitely was not too good at this. But the fire service is all about being a brotherhood. So when you become a boss, sometimes friends want to take advantage of that. You got to learn to separate the two. Being a friend is absolutely important, and there's a time and place to do that, especially in the fire service. But when it's time to be a boss, you must rise to the occasion, and your friends got to respect that. It's one of the hardest things in the fire service because you obviously want to kind of cater to your friends and show some favoritism and whatnot, and completely understandable. However, there's 50 other guys in your department that are, you know, expecting you to do the right thing, and sometimes going against your friend is what the right thing might have to be. Speaking of respect, it's earned and not given. Certifications define what you've learned, not what you've experienced. You know, I mentioned earlier that I just got into the tech rescue team and just started that training and whatnot. No way experience in that. I've never done 90% of it in a real atmosphere. It's just saying that I'm certified to do it. So, you know, experience helps. It's as an officer, no one cares that you've had all these different classes and whatnot. If you can't do the job, especially of the basics, you're not going to gain their respect. Lead from the front and remain proficient. Remain proficient goes right back to training. You want to keep up on that. You want to show that you keep going to classes. As far as that leads from the front, and when you go on fire calls, a lot of fire chiefs, and we all see it on these social media sites, they tend to, you know, go up to these fire calls and you see them in sandals and bathing suits or whatever they have on these social media things. You know, that's not leading from the front. You want to make sure that you're ready no matter what the call is. If you're dressed head to toe in your proper PPE, chances are your guys are going to be like that. So lead from the front, show them that you're still not good, or you're not too good to do basic firefighting stuff. And treat your crew like they're humans. Just because your rank is above them doesn't mean you are. You know, you also can't expect people to respect you if you don't respect them. Most of us on here is a volunteer firehouse. I can't speak on a career level, so I can only speak in a volunteer firehouse, but these guys are down here giving you their time. If you treat them like garbage, they're not going to come down because they don't have to be here. So treat them the way you want to be treated. We're all here to help each other, and there's no reason why anyone should be getting disrespected just because your rank is above them. Responsibility. Outcome of an incident is pretty much directly on your hands. There are obviously things that can't be stopped. Things happen, and it's unfortunate, but that's just part of fire service and how it goes. But for the most part, the decisions that you make is the outcome of the incident, from fire alarms to MCI incidents. You're in charge of the crew, as I said, so make sure they're going home to their families. I don't really like that term, everyone goes home, but you're going to see it here because everyone goes home should 100% mean the homeowners too. So when we're making decisions on a fire scene, I don't like this building's too involved, we can't really go in there. Well, try telling that to the family member who knows that there's someone in the house. We have to do everything in our power to get in there and make sure everything's okay. Protect their property, protect their life. Firefighting is a dangerous job, and I'm not saying send your crew into a death trap, but we have to try our hardest to make sure that their property is protected and their lives are protected. Sometimes tragedy happens. It's part of the job. People don't like hearing it, but it's realistic truth. Step number 5 is guide the future. So probationary and junior members may not mean much to some people, but whether we like it or not, they are the future of our fire service. We should be enlightening them about social media and the fire service. There's podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, even Facebook. You go on YouTube and there's plenty of guys that have videos. We have guys here in our firehouse. The kids come down here during the day. They watch YouTube of Mike Champo and Salty Fire podcast all day long. And, it might just be watching videos and not hands-on training, but they are learning stuff. So, let them know that it's all right to do that. And we need to be teaching them. We need to get in their level. The youth in the fire service has changed because I feel that society as a whole has changed. Things are way different now than they were when most of us were probably younger. They're born and they have a tablet in their hands already. So they come into our firehouse and right away we're expecting them to get onto our level and how we run things, except for the fact that they've never been part of any kind of culture like this before. So we need to show them why and try to get to it on their level. I heard a lot of things, even when I was coming through the firehouse, that we do it this way because this is always how we've done it. And maybe if we actually took the time out of our days to train them and say, this is why we do it. This is why we do, we clean the floors every week. This is why we drill. This is why we do whatever it is we do in our firehouse, that maybe it'll help them and we can get them onto our level. We can't just expect people to come into our place and just say, here's how we do it, whether you like it or not. And this is it. They don't understand. They don't work that way. I honestly feel society has changed and it's not so much them as people. All right, step 6, and I told you I'd make this kind of quick, but is take a break. So being dedicated is exceptional, and it takes a lot to be a dedicated fire officer. You want to do your due diligence. You want to make sure things are running well, trucks are all good, paperwork all has to be done. But if you don't take time for yourself, you're going to burn yourself out. So you got to try to prevent the burnout. Whether it's going on vacations, spending time with your family, reading a book, trying something new, sports, gym, hiking. Sports is pretty funny for me because, as mentioned earlier, I am a Cowboys, Devils, Yankees, and Syracuse fan, and there is nothing relaxing about watching any of those teams. So usually just puts my blood pressure up. But in order to be the best fire officer you got to be the best person you can be too. And when you got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stress in your life, and a lot of it's going to come from the firehouse, when you're on a fire scene, you might not be the best fire officer you can possibly be. So take care of yourself. Especially in the volunteer fire service, we get vacations from our work life and our careers. So why can't you take a vacation from your volunteer life? You know, just take a week back. Say, hey, I'm out for a week. I'm going to hang back and just take it easy. Firehouse is always going to be there. So just to reiterate on some of the 6 tips here, study up, know the basics of the job, train in your job, cross-train, take up technical rescue, officer command courses, investigation, company operations, the basics. Study up. Training does not stop just because you become an officer. Create goals and accomplish them. Set a goal, make a plan, get to work on that plan, stick to it, achieve it, repeat. I promise you, if you stick to that, things will go your way. I've done in the last few years that I've been chief, we've gotten some things done. I followed that exact kind of layout for myself, and knock wood, it's worked. Utilize other officers and the senior man. Share ideas. You get advice on different situations. You build relationships. You get on scene and operation advice from the senior man. Maybe stuff that they've seen that you've never seen before. You know, if you've only been in 10 years and they're in 25 years, they've seen a lot more. So utilize them. Remain professional and respectful. Know when to be a friend, know when to be a boss. You give respect, you'll get respect back. Own your responsibility. One thing that's a pet peeve of mine is when someone screws up on a fire scene, and it's always something else to blame. Oh, the truck was parked in the wrong spot. My radio wasn't working, or so-and-so did this instead of doing that. Just own up to your own mistakes. We're all human. Everyone makes them. There's no shame in that. Guide the future of the fire service. Enlighten them. Teach them. They are our replacements. You know, learn the avenues to learn or to teach. Tell them the why. They join the firehouse. They obviously want to be here. They're looking for something. You might get some guys that don't even have much of a mentorship anywhere else in life. They can be looking for that here too. Be there for them. They are the future. And prevent the burnout. Take care of yourself. As I said, vacation, sports, just reading a book, watching podcasts, whatever you got to do. Relax. Take care of yourself. I like this quote from United States Navy. Admiral William McRaven. If you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. Pretty much, you know, no matter what you try to do in the fire service, you want to make things different. The fire service is changing. We have to adapt to the change also. You're going to get feedback from guys most likely older than you that have been around, may even be that senior man, that they don't want to change because that's how we always done it. Well, that's not always good enough. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. You'd think I'd pick a Army one because I'm in West Point's backyard, but here we are. Anyone wants to contact me, feel free. My email is tommarciano@gmail.com. My Instagram is firemantom193, and my Twitter is marcianotom. I'm always up for conversation. I'm always about to talk shop. I like it. I'm a sick buff, I guess you can say. I've had a few texts here during this meeting here about my patch wall. So if anyone wants to share a patch, I can send one back to you. Feel free, contact me. You can get on the wall here too. I just want to thank you guys again. I appreciate you taking time. Hopefully I wasn't within the 30-minute mark there. And I think we'll turn it back over to Nick and he'll open up for some questions.
All right. lost my screen for a second. All right. Thank you, Tom. I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation on the 6 tips. It was very enlightening. Shared a lot of information in a very short period of time. So what we're trying to do is keep things short, keep things to the point, right down to the bottom line. No cutting corners, and just hitting it with some hot topics, some hard topics, and some hard conversations. That's what we want to do here at the Fire Tribune. We want to have these webinars. We want to get them in, get people to talk about something, and turn it back to you guys, for you guys to turn around and bring it back to us. Chief Marciano spoke on 6 tips, so we're going to open up on the floor now. Ask any question you want, any question that you possibly want to ask the chief, or any information you want to share. This is your turn right now to bring it back to us, especially Chief Marciano, and get some more insight. And we also share your ideas. So the floor is open. I'm going to unmute everyone and get it and let everybody talk.
Not about my sport teams, though, please. If you revisit any questions, I don't know. It was pretty point blank.
Some people.
Go orange. I like that.
I'll chime in with one. You talked a lot about helping new members to acclimate to the fire service. Any advice on how we can work on getting the fire service, which is very deeply rooted in tradition, to embrace some of the new concepts that, you know, other generations are bringing to the table, because we all know that we're seeing a decline in volunteerism, and we're of course blaming it on the fact that the youth of today are not as engaged, and then we say in the same breath that we're just such a traditional environment. So any advice on how we can morph to be a little more welcoming to new generations?
So we had that issue in our firehouse, actually, when we had a gap of membership. So we had guys in their late 30s, early 40s, and there was a point in time where there was really no one in between, and it came down to guys who were pretty much in their 18 to 25 range. So there was a kind of big age gap there. They're all learning one way. The older guys are learning another way. And what we attempted to do is, when we created our drill, we kind of just adapted towards the younger ways, or towards the younger guys. And I don't want to say we forced it on the more senior guys that this is the way we're going, but it's pretty much exactly how we did it. Like, we incorporated it into our training slowly but surely. We didn't just hammer it down there. And then, a few weeks goes by, and that kind of became the new normal on how we were starting to do things. We still do some stuff old school, but we kind of tried to just incorporate into our drills, and it worked, thankfully. It might not always work, but our guys became accustomed to it. And as we all got older, we now have a pretty solid lineup of guys in different age ranges. And, we are now those guys that are teaching the drills. So now it's been accustomed for so long that that's how we continue to do it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, I actually have one. I have a question I was thinking about. So we talked about, I'm actually looking at the slides, leading from the front and remaining proficient. So my example in my firehouse is we have a few officers in my house where a few of the guys, my captain is one who leads from the front. What he says for guys to do, he does himself, dresses the part, plays the part, does it flawlessly, in my opinion. But there's other officers that you hear rumblings about that don't want to do that. They, like you said, they show up looking sloppy. Uniforms aren't tightened up for the most part. As a chief officer, how would you handle, say, a lower ranked officer, or hell, even a senior man or firefighters that aren't really showing any type of leadership and showing that type of respect? How would you go about without making that into an issue, bringing them into, putting a write up in or something like that?
Yeah, so I'd personally pull them into the office. We have these offices for a reason. Sit them down, and first off, I think I would kind of see if it's been going on for a while or if it's a new occurrence. If it seems like it's a new occurrence, maybe something else is going on. Maybe, problems at home or family member sick or something. So start off with that, because a lot of times when you see stuff in the fire service that looks out of the ordinary on a certain member, a lot of times it's something at home. But if it wasn't, and sit them down and just say, hey, like, this is the image we're trying to go for. You're one of the officers these guys look up to, and if I can't get you to follow these simple rules and your PPE and look professional, how am I supposed to get the guys below you to do it? So I would basically just try to explain the image and try to help them out that way. And if it didn't go as planned, then I guess you can kind of take some corrective action if it's allowed in your bylaws, or if however your department's set up.
Who else has questions, comments, wants to share anything that they just feel like they're throwing out there? This is the time to just let it out, whatever you want to say regarding our topic.
Just one thing, I've known Tommy for years also, but sometimes in the volunteer service, it's not going to be the senior guy that may know the most experience of the topic you're at. You may get a guy who's a construction worker, and you pull up to a collapse of some sort. You may want to lean on them because they do construction for a living. They know what to look for. Or stuff along those lines. It may be the new guy, but he knows electrical, and you're an electrical fire. It's not always going to be the senior guy, especially in the volunteer service.
Brings up a perfect point there. And I know that for a fact because him and I have actually had that conversation a few different times. It kind of goes to the firefighting as a team thing, and he's 100% correct. Just because the guy is a senior guy doesn't mean he is the top notch in every call you go to. You very well might get a guy who's only in 2 or 3 years, but yet, as he said, is a construction worker, and he's going to be all about whatever type of incident you're at, if it's involving construction equipment or even a building construction type thing like that. That's a perfect point to bring up, James.
I've got one as well. How do you deal with certain culture issues, like volunteers not showing up for calls or training or anything? Like, departments that may have 20 guys on the roster, but only 6 that show up.
You kind of just have to deal with it. That goes back to the lead from the front. Every fire service, we all have these, or every volunteer fire service has the calls that we get sick and tired of going to. Our department goes to Taco Bell at 12:30 a.m. every single day, and it's hard to get guys out the door. But if they're seeing us go, we tend to get more guys out. It's leading from the front, But if you as an officer or a fire chief, if you're not going to be responding, why should the guys who are just a regular firemen respond? They're not going to want to do that. And as far as, if that's not working, then don't take it out on the 6 guys that are showing up. Try to encourage them, and hopefully they talk it up that, hey, Captain Gambuti is doing great stuff around here. And maybe that gets the other, 15, 14 guys, whatever it is, to start showing up a little bit more. But the volunteer fire service is tough, especially during daytime hours. You get guys who don't want to leave work, can't leave work, or have child duty. And then you get some guys after daytime hours who just don't want to come out because they're sick of going to the same place. You just kind of got to work around it, but I've found out that leading from the front does help. And if guys see you making the effort, you're doing everything right, and you're making it a good environment, that helps out too. But also, when you do go to these fire calls, especially as a chief officer, don't cancel the apparatus so quick. These guys are leaving their families, and as buffy as it sounds, guys want to go and ride the fire truck. They're not going to want to leave their families at dinner time or hanging out with them if they barely see them to begin with. If every time we get a fire call, we're canceling the apparatus and they're never getting out the door. So allow your guys to get the experience. Allow them to get to be the first ones on scene sometimes of, especially fire alarms. Let them search the building, check the alarm panels and whatnot. I get that there's obviously some incidents where you pull up on scene as a fire chief and the lady's out there holding a piece of burnt toast. All right, you're not going to need the whole fire department for that. But other situations where you're not really sure what's going on, get them out the door. Give them a reason to want to have to come down and go to these fire calls.
So I have one more thing. We're talking about guiding the future, and you mentioned about podcasts, Instagram, Twitter, social media aspects of it all on YouTube. And what we do, like for me, I'm going to go out there this is not an advertisement, but it is an advertisement. The National Phone Firefighters, it's another thing. We talk about guiding the future. Each month they do an IC to IC. It's a program. It's an hour long. It's a Zoom, just like this. And they have a chief officer or officers dependent that was in charge of a line of duty. And a good way to, I guess, guide them. Another aspect of it is to let them know that this is real. This is a real job, regardless of what it is. Volunteer, career, part-time, don't matter. And learn from the mistakes that were made and from the positives that came out of things like that, because they talk about these things and they get real with it and they get really raw and sometimes emotional. They have to replay that information. And from experience on my part, guiding them in a way where they're actually going to know that this is a real thing and not a hobby will really, I think, help them if they really want to continue doing this or not. Because, like that tweet that you shared the other day from Keel, it was great. Yep. It's not a hobby. That's the one thing people forget is it's not a hobby or a side job. And sometimes I think when, like you said, sitting around the firehouse doing the same thing, same calls, not getting the experience, it becomes that. It becomes a hobby, it becomes a side job, and it just becomes cake. And that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people to get out of. I mean, myself sometimes included. So I just want to kind of throw that out there because I was loving what you were saying.
A lot of times people just want to sit in the front seat because they want to be that guy in the front seat. And they think, because we don't have the crazy fire duty or the crazy amount of calls and stuff like that, that they can just kind of be a free ride. And that's not what it is. It's, to kind of go to the other tweet from today from, everyone wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster shit. So it's unfortunate that that's the world we live in, and we can't necessarily pick who comes and joins our firehouse, and a lot of times the elections are a popularity contest. So sometimes you don't have the right guy in that spot, and you might get the guy who doesn't want to really do anything except for just wear the colored helmet and have the white front piece, but.
All right, so this was really good. We got a lot of interaction, a lot of great ideas, a lot of questions out there that really helped out. And I hope put perspective to a lot of stuff that Chief Marciano spoke about today. Before we close out, I'm going to do a couple housekeeping items with the Firehouse Tribune in case anybody's not aware of what's going on with us in general as the company, as the Firehouse Tribune. Currently, if you guys are looking for some more information, more things to learn, hey, I wrote a book. It's called The 5 Tool Firefighter. It's on our website. You can buy it in our shop. You can go to Amazon, paperback and ebook form. the 5-tool firefighter. It's 5 key attributes to developing a well-rounded firefighter. Not taking away from anything Chief Marciano spoke about today. Just add into some other type of information you guys can use. You can share around the firehouse to keep going, keep advancing your career, because you're here because you want to advance. You're here because you want to get better. Another thing, we also, if you guys are big into fitness and big into taking care of yourself, like Chief Marciano said, take care of yourself, take a break. Exercise fitness is definitely one of those. We are good friends and partners with Origin Maine. For those that know Origin Maine, it is the Jocko Willink brand everybody talks about. We are partners with them. And anything you buy from them, if you use our code FHTribune at checkout, you will get 10% off every item you possibly want, from supplements, workout equipment. I have tons of it. Go on their website and check them out. Use our code, you get 10% off. And we are big supporters of this company, Direct Attack Apparel. They are a firefighter-based and owned company out of Tennessee and Canada. They make apparel for the fire service by firefighters. Anything, hoodies, hats, t-shirts, you name it. Great guys to deal with. Again, you get 10% off if you go on their website as well. Buy anything you want from them, you get 10% off using FHTribune. And as a little gift for you guys tonight, we decided, me and Tom, the PowerPoint that he presented tonight, and I'm very sorry about that whole screen share thing. We worked it out earlier, and somehow it didn't want to work when we went live for some crazy reason. We're going to give away a PDF of it as a summarized form. So you guys can, a reference card, if you will, to go back and you could see the 6 tips and different examples on everything he spoke about, all the stuff we talked about today. I'll share that in the chat, and everybody will get an email within the next day or so with that PDF as well. So you can always have that on you. That was our little special gift to you guys. Just you have a reference card. If you ever need to go back, you don't remember what was said, you just want a quick look, we got you covered on that one. So, Chief, you have anything else you want to say? You want to close out?
Yeah, just once again, I'd thank you again for the support, and I'd like to thank everyone who came out. It was good to see some participants on here, especially some of the guys that I know from around the county. So thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Just keep following the Firehouse Tribune. Nick's been on some podcasts lately, and he's got some other stuff coming up, some projects that we'll be working on. So firehousetribune.com it is, right? And Instagram, Twitter, and contact me whenever you want. I'm always willing to talk shop. Other than that, that's it.
Hey, Chief, why don't you put your contact in the chat box real quick, in case anybody needs it, in case they didn't catch it real fast. And to close this out, I just want to thank Chief Marciano for coming on. Thank every single one of you for coming on here tonight. We made it quick with a hiccup along the way, but to be expected as we're just starting these out. Take the tips, take the 6 things, learn them, use them, implement them in just not only fire serve life, but in your everyday life. With anything you do, not just to be a better firefighter, be a better human, a better person, a better husband, father, wife, mother, daughter, doesn't matter. These can go for anything you guys want to do. And that's what the Firehouse Tribune is about. The Firehouse Tribune is about making you a better person, a better firefighter, better overall, a well-rounded individual. With that, we are going to have episode 3 coming up in February. We will be announcing our 3rd episode. This time will be a lunch and learn, a 12 o'clock start, going a hard stop at 1 o'clock with this one. Episode 3, we are bringing back Lieutenant Nick Baskerville, a career lieutenant in the North Virginia Fire Department. He came on in November. He opened it up with mentorship. February is going to be a very good one. His is missing stories, finding and telling fire service history. If you're into fire service history or any history in general, join in for that one. It's something you're not going to want to miss. If you want to look him up, Instagram Storytelling on Purpose is his Instagram name. You can see what he's all about. And, I thank you guys. And as we say at the Firehouse Tribune, until next time, work hard, stay safe, and live inspired.